Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, FBI Director Christopher Wray said that recently that the U.S. faces an elevated risk of terrorist threats, but not directly in response to the country being unsafe under President Biden. Now, Republicans often believe, especially in a political year, that we're not as safe as we were before. The statistics show that we're safer today than we were, say, a year ago, but those numbers a year ago were higher than they were 3 years ago. A lot of that is, the angst that comes post-pandemic, comes post-George Floyd, post the riots we saw because of George Floyd and the whole Black Lives Matter movement. But now we've got a huge number of people undocumented coming across the border, and we have crimes like the one not that far from you where a young person, a nursing student, was killed by an immigrant who came here illegally and had already been, I believe, arrested a couple of times and was let back out. So it's created an issue of angst for a lot of people as to whether or not they feel safe or not. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's enough news to indicate that there are more threats. And you could look at statistics in any kind of way you want to twist them and say, well, it's more dangerous now or less dangerous. And then it breaks down by state and city, of course. But I think of two things from a psychological standpoint. In order to feel safe, you need two different things. You need to feel prepared. And then also you need to manage your thoughts. And to feel prepared, do whatever you feel like is necessary to let your nervous system know that you have taken some steps, because when your body feels fear, it's actually trying to get you to take action. So what do those actions look like for you? That's got to be a case-by-case situation. But whatever that is, allow yourself to reflect on those actions you've taken to know that you've taken the actions and the steps in order to bring as much safety as you can control, because everybody has a limited amount of control. And then also from a thought management standpoint, we all have to limit the amount of information that is coming into our brains, because our brains are getting overflowed with too much news, too much communication, too much social media, whatever it is. And if our brains get overloaded, of course, they're going to feel unsafe because we get flooded, whether those thoughts are about some direct threat or not. It's still a matter of our brains have little to no margin. And when they get flooded, it sends those fear signals in our body. So take some action steps and reduce the information coming into your brain.
Yeah, I agree completely. The two main things I think about are situational awareness, what you can control. I think about this through my own life of teaching martial arts and self-defense classes, especially to a women's group where we used to teach them a lot, but also as a shark diver, somebody that actively free dives and scuba dives with sharks. I always want to know what my surroundings are. And again, just as a reminder, though, to tap back into what I love that you said about how we manifest those thoughts, is you got to remember we are born with two innate fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud sounds. The other ones we manifest in our brains. This is being triggered so much. This just happened a few days ago where a neighborhood Walmart had a shooting. Not that far down the street from where I live, about a mile and a half. And because of it, I go pull it up on the phones, and every, local news channel, it's on the app, it's on the TV, it's on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. People are live streaming stuff going on. It was crazy. You're flooded with so much more than if something like that happened before. And if you let it over consume you, it's just going to trigger every kind of craziness fear you can have. At the same time, yeah, we are being exposed to a lot more bad elements, though, in the world, which is why you need to turn on your spidey senses extra, because there are more people out there doing harm because we don't know who they are. And the crime numbers do seem to purport that things that you can't control when you're away, to some degree, seem to be just growing and growing. So I understand why people feel that way. You can only argue with numbers so much, and that's something this administration, and whether it be the same administration or a different administration in November, whoever takes over has to really deal with that, because when people don't feel safe, you can't hit them with numbers to say statistics show things are better.
thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.